Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? As I talk to myself, I guess I don't need to address anybody in particular until somebody's either watching. Until someone's watching, I'm gonna treat it like I'm just doing a video. Welcome to my second live stream on YouTube. Today is a special one. I've been planning for a while. Because of my basically, the idea for today's stream is I'm going to be, what's the word? I'm going to be what's the word? I'm going to be doing a bunch of mini reviews real fast. I have a bunch of RPGs, PDFs that I have. Just check it out. I've plugged them into a high-tech algorithm called Google Sheets. And I've determined a rating for each of them from 0 to 5. There are no zeros, I don't believe. If someone's watching live at any point, please tell me if there's no one watching live yet, so I don't know why I'm asking someone if it's not live. The only people that's going to be seeing this part of the stream are the people who've been watching it after it's been live. This is just the weird stuff that I think about, but I hope the music's not too loud. Yeah. So I have a bunch of mini reviews ready. I have about 10. I have 10 mini reviews that will be doing this stream. Then if we can get through all of those, I have a couple bonus. No, I have one bonus. Yeah, so maybe I'll wait a little bit until someone joins. I'll wait about 10 seconds. I'll just sit here awkwardly for about 10 seconds until see if someone joins. Okay, it's been 10 seconds. I think let's just go ahead and start right off with Pathfinder. So if you've watched any of my previous episodes, you've probably seen my D&D episode. And that's the biggest RPG in the genre, I don't know. But so a bit of history on Pathfinder, the Pathfinder RPG. I believe, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it was a company that used to make a magazine for D&D. At some point, they just stopped working for Wizards of the Coast and then made their own RPG called Pathfinder. And it was basically a copy-paste of D&D. Of D&D's, like, 3rd edition or something. So, and Pathfinder's in its, like, 2nd edition, and I think it's still a lot like 5th or 3rd edition of D&D. I'm not 100% sure. Someone probably knows more about this than me, but yeah. So, I probably should have said this in the beginning. On each mini review, I'm going to be doing 3 categories. It's going to be friendliness, how easy it is to learn and play the role-playing game. also kind of how easy it is to, I guess that's included in easy to learn, but also kind of like the presentation of the rule book, and that kind of a big part in how easy it is to learn something. Next is theme. So that's kind of just like I sure look like I know what I'm doing, don't I? Theme is kind of how provocative like the rules and just the rule book and ideas in the rule book, how provocative they are. Not only for establishing world building that the publishers have made, but also helping with just oh, hey Adrian, I'm gonna highlight this comment because I can. Technology. Okay. So for the person that just joined, I'm going to be doing a bunch of mini reviews. There's about 10 of them I'm going to get down, and then if I can finish them all, and there's still people here, I have a bonus episode. So I'm beginning with Pathfinder. And Pathfinder was made by the people who made the magazine for D&D 3rd edition, which is strange. I don't have a lot of backstory on all of them. This is just the weird story I have with Pathfinder. So I'm going to be rating everything on friendliness, how easy it is to learn and play, theme, how provocative it's world building, and establishing a genre to this type of role-playing game, and polish, which is just how good the role-playing game looks, which can be a big factor for me, at least. Yeah, so for Pathfinder, it's a little bit harder to learn, mostly because I didn't get like super. I only know like a couple of the rules on this list, like for sure, like down. Pathfinder's not one of those. I know the basic idea. It's a lot like it goes off of a D20 system like D&D. But I found that how easy it's a bit harder to learn, and it's a bit clunky, and there's a lot of rules, even compared to just D&D 5th edition. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's not as many rules, and I'm just I didn't research enough. It all depends on perspective from a certain point of view. So I put that at a lower friendliness rating. For theme, it's about it's also it's pretty vague. It looks a lot like D&D in many ways. For polish, though, I did think Pathfinder's rulebook looks a lot better than D&D's rulebook, at least from what I could see. I kind of like the art a bit more. So yeah, out of all that, Pathfinder for me gets a 2.6 out of 5. Oh yeah, banners. Okay, 2.6 out of 5 for Pathfinder. And at the end, maybe I can see which one I rated the biggest. Oh, I already see it. Okay, that makes sense. Anyway, so that's 1 down, 9 to go. And we're already 10 minutes into the stream. Okay. So we're looking at like an hour and a half of streaming time. That depends. Also, for the people who are currently not watching the stream that can't hear me, make sure to comment and put into the chat um, uh, questions. Also, people who are watching this after the fact, please leave questions. Okay, we're back up to 1. Let's go. Peak streaming viewership. So yeah, make sure to ask any question about these mini reviews. By the way, Pathfinder, the first mini review we got up is a 2.6 out of 5. 2.6. It's a little bit low compared to some other ones. So that's Pathfinder. If you missed or didn't really understand my description of Pathfinder, it's just D&D. Don't worry about it. So next on the list is Lancer. Lancer's a fun one. So Lancer is a game about, it has some very, very good art. So polish score is a 5 out of 5. Very good art. And the rulebook is very straightforward and not that hard to read. So Lancer is like, it's a game about, you have each character has a person, a pilot, and then they have a mech. It's a lot like the Titanfall. The art reminds me of Titanfall a lot. Yeah, so it has its own sci-fi setting. It's a pretty cool setting too. There's a lot of cool ideas. And then like part of it is how you level up is like, the premise of it is that you're working for somebody, whether that be like a government or you're just mercenaries or something. And how you level up, you get more like sponsorship money. Like the better stuff you do, the more sponsorship you have, the better mechs and better kooky, crazy upgrades you can get. So for Friendliness, it is rules light when it comes to just your pilot, and that isn't that bad, and the character creation is pretty simple for your character. But I found with the mech combat, because that's pretty much what the only thing you really do with your mechs, mech combat is pretty complicated. It has a lot of tiny rules, and so this is the least friendly game on this list that I have so far. Its theme, it gets better than Pathfinder. It has a very good setting. There is just a lot of flavor. That's not necessarily a bad thing, at least not to everyone. Also, probably should also address this at the beginning. This is called the Megasode because this is supposed to be like the basically, I didn't want to, with a lot of these RPGs, I didn't want to dedicate a whole like 15-minute episode to each and every one of them. So I'm just gonna knock them out in this big mega episode, a Megasode, if you will. Yeah. So now I can move on to some other things because I have a lot of interest. It's just the kind of person that I am. I get interested in a lot of things fairly quickly. This is a blessing and a curse. So I also kind of want to expand the range of the podcast a bit. So I'm knocking out a bunch of my RPGs. If there's anything I am really excited for, I will make an episode on that. But I'm also going to be moving out to other things, such as board games. The Round Table, which is becoming my favorite podcasting episodes. You should really check those out on Spotify. The first episode is on the YouTube channel, kind of as like a sample. The thing is, that was supposed to be like our sample episode. Like, you kind of like listen to that, and if you like that, go check out the rest of it on Spotify. Thing about the sample though, I had really bad mic quality for some reason. My headset must have been broken. I didn't figure it out until I was done talking with Cameron for those whole hour and a half or something. So there is a volume warning on that. But please know the rest of the episodes aren't that good. Oh, hey, Gregor. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, but check out the round table. We're 17 minutes in. I now have to explain the whole premise again to a new person. Thanks a lot, Ethan. Basically, I want to expand the podcast to each time I'm going to have to explain this. I'm going to have to explain it more concise as we get deeper into the episode or stream. Basically, I'm going to rapid fire. I'm just going to mini review a bunch of episodes, which it isn't being that many because I haven't even gotten through like 2 RPG systems and we're already up to 17 minutes. So we have about 10 RPGs on my spreadsheet here. And then if we can make it all through and there's still people around, I'll have a bonus. Yeah. So then, yeah. This is the mini. So we already reviewed Pathfinder. I don't need to explain it. It's just D&D, but worse. I'm just kidding. Some people like it more than D&D. I'm not gonna say such spicy takes on the podcast. So we're reviewing Lancer right now, which I've told Ethan about on his episode in the roundtable. Check out the roundtable on Spotify and YouTube. So Lancer, I'm going to be judging everything by 3 categories: friendliness, how easy they are to learn; theme, how good is like the writing, like story-wise in the rule books; and polish, which is just how good it looks. So Lancer is one of the biggest, it was the best polish rating of 5. And that brings up their average to a 3 out of 5. Pathfinder is a very good RPG, very average. Well, not average, but it's very good, but also has a couple things that don't make it my favorite. Next is Kids on Bikes, which is a very fun one. It's a relatively new one, I think. I don't know. But Kids on Bikes is very cool because I just recently, just a couple, like last month, me and my sister just started watching Stranger Things, finally. So, because I knew that there was a Kids on Bikes RPG, which I knew was like Stranger Things. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll check that. Maybe Sydney would like to play it. And sure enough, I really like it. It has the highest rating so far. So for friendliness, I'd give it a 4, which is the biggest friendliness rating so far. It's pretty simple to play, even better to run because they have a kind of collaborative world building thing, which arguably you could do that in any RPG, but they have it so like people like they go around the table, so like one person gives them like the name of the town, some person gives them like a building in there, a character name, stuff like that, just to help the person to run. So it's a very good game for someone who wants to try to run a game for the first time, and it's pretty cool to world build for. So gets a 4 in friendliness and a 3 in theme. So unless you shell out for the deluxe version of the rulebook, it really doesn't give much in the way of like helping you to world build the towns, other than the collaborative world building things. But if you get the deluxe version, it comes with like, I don't know, it comes with a bunch of they call them adventure modules. But with most people who play RPGs, that usually means like a whole like session to play through. It doesn't mean that in this case. It's just like a town with like a monster and like threats and stuff. So I really like that part of it for the deluxe one because it has a bunch of inspiration for making your own town and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And for polish, it gets a 4 because it has some pretty good art, but it's kind of sparse throughout. It is above average, I would say. So out of all that, Kids on Bikes RPG gets a 4 out of 5. Kids on Bikes, it's made for adventures based off of like Stranger Things and the Goonies and stuff like that. So next RPG is, I looked at the completely wrong one. Sorry, Kids on Bikes did not get a 4. It got a 3.6. It got a 3.6 out of 5. Yep. Yeah, 3.6. It's a little bit above average. Next we have Masks. Masks. That's weird to say sometimes. But Masks is a superhero RPG about playing a young superhero. And what's kind of cool about it is that like it's like where D&D kind of and other stuff like that kind of feels more like a video game. I feel like Mass feels like you're writing a screenplay or something, or like a movie. So it's about like playing like young teenager superheroes, and like you don't really have like HP. You take like conditions like frustrated or insecure, and then your stats can like shift around, and your stats are like how you perceive yourself, like as a hero or as a freak. And it has some really cool, and it's based off the Apocalypse system, which already puts it at a pretty high on the friendliness scale. So that got about a 4. For theme, it has a pretty good theme, but theme very good. Has a really specific view for how your settings are supposed to kind of run, and that can be really useful for people who are just starting out GMing. And then finally for polish, it's all right. It's above average definitely, but the book can be a little bit on the heftier. It's a little bit on the heftier side, but it does have some very good art and very good inspiration for making your own superheroes. Oh, and one of the coolest things about this system, Masks, is that for superpowers, you don't have just like, you can either have telekinesis or whatever. Just you don't have a bunch of options. It's literally for each different like class, which they call playbooks in the Apocalypse system. For each different class, you have like 6 options, but it says in the rulebook that if you don't like any of those options, you can just put something completely random. So what's cool about that is that your powers don't directly like affect the game unless like, because like with D&D there's a similar superhero system run off the D20 system called mutants and masterminds or something. I think that's it. I don't know. But what this system is good at is that you can basically have any power and it doesn't affect your actual, like, it's hard to explain. You can basically have any power. In mutants and masterminds, I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure it's limited to like just how many powers you can have. But with mass, you can pretty much have any power. And it doesn't make your character more powerful or less powerful. So you can basically just have fun, whatever power you want. So that's pretty cool. So after all that, masks gets a 4 out of 5 on my extremely complex Google Sheet. So we're down 5. We're halfway done, and we're about 30 minutes on the clock. So how about we go in for that bonus right now? I have a bonus. So as I was saying, I'm kind of trying to expand to other different types of games. Basically, for this next bonus, there's a game called Ex Novo. So Ex Novo is really cool because it's a map. It's a city building game. So say that you want to say that you're running a D&D camp. You have to run a D&D session tomorrow, and you only have the afternoon to world build an entire town. Well, you could either write it all out and use your own mind, or you could cheat and use Ex Novo. Ex Novo is on itch.io for about $8, or you could pay more. It's a map. It's a city building game where it's like you choose like how old your city is, how big it is, and then you just make like a grid on the paper. It's all like, all you need is this PDF, a paper and a pencil, and a couple of dice, which is really cool. Oh, and some tokens. So, which you can just use coins or something. Then what you do is, then like, once you've set it all up and you've set up like the basic terrain that your city was built on, you make some basic clues as to why it was like founded and who lives there, which they all have random tables for. Then for depending on how old your city is, if you've done it before, it takes maybe like 30 minutes to finish a average sized town. You can always do longer or shorter depending on what you want to do. Then you go through rolling 3 dice, and basically what this guy did, which sounds grueling, is he took every single combination of 3 dice, which goes up to like 600 something, and he gave a separate outcome for it. So depending on what you roll, I don't want to read through all of them so I can get surprised each time I try it, but there's like plague, there's cultural stuff, there's war, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. It's really cool, and it's a really cool way just to make a city that seems really fleshed out when all you did was play a game. So that's really cool. And I didn't rate this one, but I would say I definitely recommend it. And it's a really cool thing to try out. If you want to look it up, it's Ex Novo by Shark Bomb Games, I think. It's on itch.io. Okay. So we're at our halfway point. We've done 5 mini reviews. We've done the bonus. Is there any questions from the chat? Feel free to say any questions. By the way, who's still watching? Is it Is it Gregor or Adrian? I'm waiting for your comment now. The longer you wait, the worse experience this is going to be for whoever else is listening after the stream. No, I'm just kidding. But the next, let's see what next on our list on our spreadsheet here. Next we have Tales from the Loop. Tales from the Loop is a lot like Kids on Bikes, except it comes with its own setting of like a alternate 90s like suburban town or American, or like I think it's like Swedish suburban town. Tales from the Loop is like it's sci-fi. I think the basic premise is that you live in this town where they put a giant like particle collider um like under the town, and it's like messing with time. So there's a bunch of weird stuff that happens. It has amazing art, so it has a 5 out of 5 for polish. Um, Amazing art. You should check it out if you have a chance. I can't remember the guy's name, but he is very good. He's a very good artist. Um, for Friendliness, I found this. I would instead recommend doing Kids on Bikes with this setting, because the rules are a little bit on the obscure side. They're not that complicated, but they're just kind of weird. They're just a little weird for me. And theme is also very good, just because it has a lot of ideas for how to make characters. It has a bunch of random tables. I think it has random tables. I'm not sure, but it explains the explains the how is my feedback here. Sounds like I'm having really bad. Okay, we're gonna be right back after a small break. Can you guys even hear? Okay, here. I was just talking to myself like a crazy person. Okay. Um, this feedback is so bad. Yikes. What if I just did this? Hello, hello? How's this? No one's watching, so it honestly doesn't matter. Except for the people who are suffering. Holds up. Okay, I did something. Who knows if you even hear me? Maybe half of the stream will just be silent. Um, if you can hear me, I must sound like a crazy person. Um, but okay, no, I see it's working now. So, um, I won't be able to hear anything. Next time someone starts listening, I'll see if the music is working or if you guys can hear me. But until then, let's just keep going. I'm trying to pad out this stream time as long as I can. Next on the list we have Wander Home, which is a very, very good one. So Wander Home, for friendliness, it is I think it is the most friendly game on my list. Um, it has no dice rolling, none at all, just none. No, so it's incredibly easy to learn because there's almost no rules. Um, and everything that you pretty much do need to learn um, is written on the character sheet. Um, Basically, what you can do is to earn tokens, which you can use to do special actions. Um, you can, so like, for example, I was doing a character. Wander Home is like, um, the premise is like you're a bunch of animals traveling around to different towns. It's really inspired off of Ghibli movies. So, for an example, I was playing a character, and it said I can get a token if I help someone. If I say, "Let me help you." Um, so basically, all I had to do was say that there was a lady in the town that was about to drop something, and I helped her. And then I got a token. Then I could do something special at some point. That's pretty much the only rule. Um, and then yeah, so it's the idea is that it's a RPG made to not focus on violence and conflict. It's just good times, good vibes only. Um, and it's a lot of fun. And a really great way it's good for new GMs is that um, it has a system where it's like GM people rotate being GM. So like me and my friend played, and so then like for each different little part of the town, um, I would GM and then he would GM and then we'd switch off. and then one person would play both of our characters, or one person would play their character and the GM at the same time. Um, and then one person would play their character, and that's just a lot of fun. I don't know why. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a really just chill way to get into role playing games. Um, of course, if this was your first role playing game, I don't know how scary D&D would be. You just think role playing games are just all just like peaceful, and then you try to play D&D, and it's like you kill a man. So it has the highest friendliness score. Its theme is a 4 also, so that is it has a pretty cool world building. It's like all the intelligent things are animals. And then like for livestock, they have big bugs. And a couple of classes revolve around having big bugs. So that's pretty cool. And for polish, I would the core rules are pretty bare. They don't really have. There is a little bit of art, but not a lot of like colored or anything. It's okay. They have good art, but it's not anything to um call home about. Wait, is that who's writing call home? Comment down below, the people who are watching this after I've streamed it. Comment down below if the term is call home about. So yeah, Wander Home gets a... Wait, did I say what Tales from the Loop even got? Oh my gosh. Tales from the Loop got a 3.3. A 3.3 out of 5. It's okay. It's really just okay. But now also Wander Home gets a 3.6. So that's pretty cool. Honestly, I don't know why it's 3.6. I probably would have rated this better. But that's just maths, I guess. You don't argue with the algorithm. Next is Root. Root. Root is, so basically, um, um, so Root is a well-known board game. It's a very fun board game. I've played it a couple times. It's very, very cool. I also have the app on my phone. It's very good. So then on Kickstarter, they're turning it into an RPG. So it is very, Root is very easy to learn. There is a couple just like random stuff that's like kind of weirdly put in the board. It could be formatted a little bit better in the rulebook, but it's pretty easy to learn. It's off of the Apocalypse system, so that it has a good eye going for it. Theme is very good because it has like an established like kind of world that you're all in a forest, and then like each clearing in the forest is a town basically. And then there's like 4 factions. There's the Woodland Alliance, which are a bunch of little rats and foxes and stuff, and they're like the rebels from Star Wars. And then like if the Woodland Alliance are like the rebels from Star Wars, then there's 2 empires. One is the Eerie Dynasty, which used to rule the whole forest. They're a bunch of birds. And the Marquis de Cat, I think. And they rule the forest now, and they're a bunch of cats. And the final faction, it's not really a faction in the game. It's not a faction at all. Is a Vagabond. And in the board game, you play Vagabond. It's just one little raccoon or something that goes around doing little quests. And in an RPG, you play a Vagabond. All of you play a Super Vagabond. I played it a little bit with my family and with Dominique from the Starfighter podcast. Yeah, so it's a very good. It's a pretty fun game. We had a lot of fun with it. The only downside is the polish. First of all, I don't know why the polish is so low, but the polish is low for some reason. I assume because they promised a bunch of art in the Kickstarter. They promised it all to come like last year. They like backed it last year, and like nothing has happened so far, and they haven't really updated anything. They say it's coming out in November this year, but it's kind of annoying. Um, so I guess I gave it a lower score. The art is very good though. Look up the Root board game art; it's very good. So Root got a 3.6 out of 5. There's the I don't have it. Oh no, it's right here. 3.6 out of 5. Um, uh, it could be a 4. It could have been a 4 if it was out right now and I had the full product in my hand, but it's not. So it's not. Um, yeah. So we're now up to 8. We have 2 more. Now comes the highest rated game in the entire list, which is City of Mist. Um, this is the highest rated because, um, first of all, friendliness. It's a little bit lower because it's based on the apocalypse system, kind of, but it uses D8s, I think, and there's just a whole bunch of extra rules that they have, which are kind of strange. Um, but character creation is really easy and really cool because the whole like concept is that you're in like this city and this um the city of mist. The city has a bunch of there's a mist that comes over it pretty much every like night or something, and it gives people special powers based off of historical, literary, or just legendary figures. So like mythology, um, media, history, just all sorts of, just basically you can have any powers of like a former story. So, well, just any, it doesn't have to be former, I guess. It just says any story. They only use like ancient or like public domain stuff because they don't want to buy a bunch of licenses, obviously. But you could have Iron Man and SpongeBob and Superman and Spider-Man all at the same time if you really wanted to, and it would technically not be not it would technically make sense in the world. Um, so that's pretty funny. So it is a little bit. Oh, it is very high in theme because it has basically a bunch of districts for each city, and it has all a bunch of characters and lists of stuff to put into your own city. So that's very, very, very cool. Um, so yeah, it has the biggest. I think it has the biggest theme score out of any of these games. Honestly, I probably should have done this one last because the next one's a little bit disappointing compared to this one. Also for polish, it also has a 5, so that's 2 5, 2 4 5. Um, so for polish, it's really cool because they have like a comic book inspired art, and that's really cool. It has a lot of art too, for like almost. They have art for a lot of the characters they have, and I'm pretty sure the it has one downside is they have a bunch of different books split out, and it's kind of hard to tell which one has the which one you need to buy first to play the game. Um, but they have um, adventures for you to do, and they have art for pretty much all the characters that they made. So that's really cool. So out of all that, City of Mist gets the 4.3. It's a 4.3 out of 5, which is the highest score out of all of them. 4.3. So check out City of Mist after you've watched this stream. This video, because no one's watching the stream currently. Now finally, a little bit anticlimactic, but we're just gonna roll with it. Havoc Brigade. If you've seen my other episodes, you know that I've reviewed Goblin Quest with my small sibling Atticus. So Havoc Brigade is like, it's more of a gag than anything else. I kind of feel like, not like, haha, this isn't really a good one. It's just for kicks, but it's not a super like directed, or not directed, but it's a little vague and kind of just silly. The premise is that you're a bunch of orcs, which it comes with preset characters and not really rules for making your own characters. You're a bunch of orcs. Orcs are like big green monsters from fantasy settings. And you're running through a city and breaking things. So there's like a giant orc with big armor. There's like a artificer, like inventor orc, and then there's one orc that's just a bunch of goblins stacked on top of each other, which is pretty funny. And I'm pretty sure it's like the same like world as Goblin Quest. That's pretty cool. So for Friendliness, it's about a 4. It's not really complicated rules, but then again, it's not complicated because it's mostly like a one-shot system like Goblin Quest, and it's not really made for really long campaigns, and so it doesn't have a bunch of rules for leveling up and stuff like that. Friendliness 3 because again it's kind of vague and just kind of weird. And then Polish finally 3. It has a little bit of art, but it's kind of lacking in that respect. So Havoc Brigade gets a 3.3 out of 5. Okay, that's all 10. All 10. Yeah. So there we go. The Megasode is finally over. I will never review another role-playing game again. No. I probably will at some point talk about role-playing games. But yeah, that's a whole bunch out of that feels good. It feels like I don't have a bunch of more stuff to do. But make sure to comment down below any challenges you have for different genres of role-playing games for me to find. So now I'm done with role-playing games forever. I'm trying to. I want to kind of move out. So I named the podcast Dicecast. So technically, tons of stuff has dice in it. I mean, like board games, and I'm getting into miniatures games too. If there's anybody listening to this, if anybody can hear this, I'm already dead. No, I'm just kidding. But if anybody's listening, then if you know anything about miniatures games, say something in the comments. Oh, hey, who's watching? Who is it? Who is it? Hold up. So, yeah. So now that I've done all 10 role-playing games, I'm leaving the TTRPG community. Yes, forever. I'm done. But if anybody's watching that has any experience with miniatures games, if you have any ideas to do with what sort of miniature games, or I have one in particular, probably, so a couple announcements. Aiming for, like, next week, we're going to try to do another episode 1 of the round table, even though I've already done 2 episodes. Then we have, um, then we have, then I'm going to be probably reviewing more board games, and like I said, I'm going to do some playthrough, or not playthrough. I'm going to be playing some board games, and role-playing games, and miniatures games. So, if that sounds like something interesting, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to look out for if I do another stream, and other videos. Um, yeah. Uh, um, yeah. So we've done all 10. We've done all 10 role-playing games. The Megasode is over. So, yeah. Everybody have a good day. I'm now ending the stream. Goodbye.